So when it came time to add to the portfolio, it was really a no-brainer to decide what to brew next. I've had some success in the past with a very similar recipe. Back when I brewed in California, I worked for a brewery called Humboldt Brewery, and we made a beer called Red Nectar. Now, Red Nectar was a classic American red ale. There it was about 6% alcohol, fairly well hopped and fairly bitter. And that recipe I've shared over the years with a number of students from the American Brewers Guild class. It has continued to win medals under different names at the Great American Beer Festival and World Beer Cup. Brewers have shared the basic fundamentals of that recipe around throughout the industry. So I took a new direction with it. I turned it into something that is an everyday session ale. But that recipe brings with it enough complexity that it can really provide the drinker with an experience that they can explore all the different aspects of a beer's flavor and how a beer is put together. The recipe itself is, for malt is fairly simple, but for hops is a little more complicated. And the idea of layering flavors on top of flavors adds to a fairly complex drinking experience, but at the same time leaves you with a beer that is relatively and fairly easy to drink. Chefs love this beer. It's really very versatile. It's got a great caramel character, it's got a great dry finish, it's got a nice malt balance, it's got different elements about it as far as the hops are concerned. Some of it, there's some earthy tones there's some floral notes, there's some citrus notes, and then there's a nice aromatic tone to it as well. The yeast strain that's used is fairly clean, lets the ingredients shine through more than anything else. And the beer is at an ideal alcohol content and dryness to improve the overall drinkability factor of it as well. Call it Red Dwarf. We named it after a popular British book and television series, science fiction comedy. And some of the beer drinkers of this beer or consumers of this beer might have recognized that. It is a beautiful reddish amber color, and we'll pour it into its own glass. So if asked to describe what style it is, a classic American amber ale. We use crystal malt that's imported from Great Britain. We use a little bit of malted wheat in this one to improve the foam and to lighten up the body just a shade. We use domestic American two-row malted barley in this one. It's the only brew that we make using American-grown malt. We use 4 different hop varieties, layering one upon the other. The first one is called Chinook. The second one is Willamette, which gives that earthy note to it. The Chinook is important because the type of bitterness it provides is fairly sharp. This beer has got a lot of crystal malt in it, which can make it seem cloying if you're not careful. So I think that the choice of the Chinook hop that cuts through that sweetness is an important factor in its flavor and balance. We also use a hop called Mount Hood, which is it's an American-grown version of a classic German hop called Hallertau. And then we finish with Cascade as well. And Cascade gives us almost a citrus-like flavor and aroma in the finish as well. So all in all, this beer is designed to pair with almost any kind of food. We've had reports back from chefs around the state that are very happy to use it in recipes and to pair their dishes with it. It's very popular in restaurants around Vermont, and we're pretty proud to carry on this recipe or this tradition of brewing this recipe into the future. Cheers.